Hey everyone, it's Mary Lafferty, CMOShare. We've been getting a lot of questions lately around search results, so I thought I would do a quick recording on why am I not coming up in blank and enter your search term there. It tends to like ebb and flow when this question comes up, and when we get a lot of them, we tend to get a lot, and when we get a few, we tend to just get a very tiny or not even have this question for a while. And I'm not sure if it has to do with, there's a lot of agencies out there that will send you crazy reports saying, hey, your website is completely ineffective. You have all these gaps, you have all these, things that are happening to it that we can fix for you. Completely, usually not true, 99% inaccurate, but just, something that they send out to try to get your business and gain your attention. And so I don't know if it has to do with like trends of those types of things going out or not, but regardless, we're getting a lot of those questions. So I wanted to record a quick video and give you a little bit of perspective. There's three things that are really important to remember in specific search results. One is search engines don't really work that way anymore. So thinking of just a specific keyword or a specific search term is really a bit old school way of thinking about SEO and optimization. Now, keywords are still important, and knowing the specific search terms are definitely a piece of what we do and what helps when you're thinking of the full optimization picture, but they're only a component anymore. So now SEO is more about the quality of the entire conversation and what we call conversation clusters. So not exactly what is the user typing in specifically to find you, but what is the conversation that the user wants to have. So for example, if a user is looking for a dentist in Phoenix, Arizona, they might type in dentist in Phoenix, Arizona. So we do want to make sure that we're going to optimize for that term, but more importantly, for that conversation. And so that includes things like making sure that you have reviews on your website from people who live in Phoenix, Arizona, talking about you as a dentist and a great dental practice. Those are things you want to make sure that you've got a location page and you've got language across your website that talks about you being a reputable dentist in Phoenix, Arizona. You want to optimize yourself for any listings channels that you can. You want to make sure that you're talking about your services in regards to the location that you're in. You also want to make sure that if you're doing any community impact or community outreach services within the local community, that you have that on your site as well. So looking at the terms is important. Understanding what those are as a component and piece of the conversation is important, but the specific term itself is no longer just a one for one match like it used to be, where we'd say, okay, I want to have Phoenix, dentist in Phoenix, Arizona on my site 27 times so that when someone searches, I automatically come up in that match and I rank high. It just doesn't work that way anymore. The second component to remember is that search is a lot about the user now. So it's about how your website's optimized. It's about all of those things. But first and foremost, it's about the user. So Google, along with other search engines, have done a really great job of learning what are your habits individually. What do you look for? What kind of conversations do you like to have? What are your behaviors when you're on search? All of those things are going to play into what is served up to me versus what is served up to somebody else. My individual search behaviors and habits and tendencies. So you have the whole conversation that the user wants to have, and then you have individual tendencies, habits, and behaviors online. The third piece of that is remembering that how the user talks isn't always how you think they might talk, or how they're searching in context of that conversation may not be how you think the context of that conversation is happening. So we do a lot of research on that on a monthly basis. We flex websites, we flex things as we see trends and user behavior change and the conversations they want to have change. So you might think a term that somebody would type in is something that's really important in a piece of that conversation, where in our research and the discovery that we do, we might find that actually nobody is typing that in, that there's very, very little value to that specific term. One of the examples I like to use to kind of showcase this is through my career, I've done a lot of work with sales teams or organizations who do sales coaching, sales teaching, sales learning for B2B organizations. And one of the things we were always getting asked to do was optimize for the term sales coaching, because a lot of these businesses want to sell coaching for salespeople. Well, we could never optimize for the term sales coaching because when you looked at the research, the term sales coaching in 90% of searches actually had to do with coach bags on sale. And that was the conversation people were looking for, was coach purses and bags that were on sale, not sales coaching for the organization. That was a totally different search. So we had to really take a step back and look at the full conversation and optimize for that instead. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out and let us know. And we'll see you later. Thanks.